What's up, you guys? Nicci here, creator of the Glow Code, where I create content, convene community, and offer coaching for around the way girls who are unashamed of the gospel. I help women design the lives that they truly deserve. So I want to come in here and talk to you about just some thoughts that I was having. I was reading the other day, and the writer wrote a little phrase that kind of caught me off guard, and it made me think about myself, about our community, about the nation in general. And so this writer wrote, in sum and substance, I don't know if I'm relaying the quote word for word, but basically what the writer said was, the quicker the boil, the less in the pot. So again, the quicker the boil, the less in the pot. And I guess the point was, the more water there is in a pot, the longer it's going to take to bring that pot to boil. So if the pot is coming to boil super quick, that means there's not a lot of water inside the pot. And so it just got me thinking, like, me personally, how quick am I to come to boil? Like, how quick am I to be upset? How quick am I to be offended? How quick am I to take offense? How quick am I to be outraged by, the next thing every other day that comes out? How quick am I coming to boil? And what does that say about my substance? What does that say about the amount of water that I have in my pot? And for my purposes, I'm talking about that living water, if you feel me. And so it also made me think about just our community as a whole. Like, how quick are we to become upset, to be angry, to pop off? And, I know that it's become a thing over the past couple years of just like popping off. Like, if you do one thing to annoy me, I'm a pull up. I'm a pull up and pop off is kind of like a cultural thing. And it just made me think, like, if we are the type of people that at the slightest offense, at the slightest irritation, we think it's appropriate to pull up and pop off, what does that say about our substance or lack thereof? What does that say about the amount or lack of water in our pot? Like, what is it in our culture? What is missing that makes us feel that pull up and pop off is appropriate, or forget even being appropriate, that it's like even effective? Like, what's the return on investment of pull up and pop off? Like, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I can tell you the pull up and pop off don't do nothing but put money in my pocket. So keep on if you feel like it, but it's not effective. There's not really a great return on investment on the pull up and pop off. So, I mean, what do you guys think? If you're watching this later, let me know. Have you done your own assessment of how much water is in your pot? What are you doing to make sure that your pot is full? And for those of you who, like myself, have been examining, and I feel like I am, adding more and more water to the pot, I'm to the point now where I'm not easily offended. I'm not easily upset by things, even things that are going on in the world, that could be upsetting, things that are going on in pop culture that are just kind of like, really? Why? Like, what are you doing? And what is your purpose? Oh, I know your purpose, and I know who's behind what you're doing. It could make you upset, but I find that I'm at the point now where it's like, because I have been studying the word, and because I can kind of see, like, oh, okay, I can see where that was prophesied. We knew that was going to happen. Oh, I can see that's in the book too. I knew that was going to happen. Because that water is in the pot, it allows me to not be so overly emotional and outraged at every new thing that comes up that is outrageous. So you guys, if you're watching this later, drop a comment. Let me know, what's the state of the water in your pot? And I think that is kind of our job while we're here, to daily be filling more and more water into our pot. And again, by water, we're talking about the living water, the word, so that we can remain calm, and we can remain composed, and we can remain, have peace in the midst of life's storms, so that we're not so easily swayed and so easily brought to boil. And so that we have the energy, and we have kind of like the spirit needed to boil when it actually is time for us to actually boil about something, as opposed to being brought to boil over every little slight, every little thing. And again, as a defense attorney, I see all the time people who just lack self-control, and any little thing that annoys them, any little thing that, excuse my phrasing, any little thing that pisses them off, or even things that shouldn't really piss a person off, gets them upset, and they react and they behave in a way that lands them in my office. They really feel like it's appropriate to pop off. They feel like it's appropriate to pull up on somebody and knock on their door, which I think is the craziest thing ever. Like, who goes to somebody's house to fight them? Like, that seems like a bad idea, just for GP. But people do this, and it's like, just because someone said something that you didn't like, this person didn't touch you, this person, hasn't harmed you, but because they said something, or because they posted something on Instagram or on Snapchat that you took offense to, you were brought to boil to the point where this got physical, and now you're sitting in my office with like aggravated assault charges because of something someone posted on social media. Like, we have to do better. Like, we have to have enough in our pot that it takes more than that to bring us to boil. We have to have enough substance. And I'm talking about on an individual basis, like each individual person has to do the examination. If you are so easily brought to boil, that says something about what's in your pot. If you are very easily brought to boil, that might be an indication that you don't have a sufficient amount of water in your pot. Now, obviously, again, water, I'm talking about, the spirit, the word, but also, like, what do you have going on in your life? You ain't got nothing else to worry about. You don't have no activities, no job, no family, a career, hobby, aspirations. You don't have none of that in your pot that you could be focused on, as opposed to pulling up and popping off. And when you look, the people who do this pull up, pop off, always fighting, always into something, in addition to maybe not really having so much of the word, just on a practical, secular level, these people don't tend to have a lot going on in their lives. Like, if you got time to be mad and easily offended and brought to boil over every little thing, that's an indication to me that you don't have a job, you're not in school, you don't have a family, you don't have hobbies, there's nothing occupying your time. You got an idle mind is the devil's workshop. So if you have an idle mind, then you are a person who are easily brought to boil. Hey, Wife Studio, the Wife Studio, how are you? I'm here today talking about a quote that I read that said, the quicker the boil, the less in the pot, which basically was communicating that if you're a person who is easily moved, easily brought to boil, easily upset, that is an indication that you don't have a lot in your pot. Because if you have a lot of water in your pot, it's going to take longer to bring that pot to boil. So I'm just here, talking about how I had to examine myself about how quick am I to be brought to boil, and what does that say about me, and examining kind of my growth in that area, and also trying to understand on a macro level as a community, and as community, I mean, as Black people, how quick are we to be brought to boil? And I mean, all you gotta do is look at the internet and watch any little video. We love to embarrass ourselves posting fight videos for some reason. We like to do that. I don't know. But it kind of shows sort of maybe a lack of substance there in the community, that we are so easily brought to boil, that people are so easily offended and so quick to want to like throw these hands over any little small slight or interpreted offense. And that maybe we as a community need to be doing some self-reflection of what's in our pot. Why isn't there enough in our pot that we have other things going on in our lives that is occupying our time, that we don't even have time to be pulling up and popping off? Like, pull up and pop off is the devil's work, okay? Pull up and pop off is stupid too. And I talked about this a little earlier. There is no return on investment for pull up and pop off. Like, it's not working for anybody. And more importantly, when we talk about what's in the pot, the water that I was referring to is the living water. The more of Christ that you have in your pot, the more of his word that you have in your pot, the more of the Holy Spirit that you have in your pot, it really allows you to just look at some stuff and just be like, I'm going to love you with the love of the Lord. I'm going to say a prayer and I'm going to keep it moving, because I can't be brought to boil over this. Like, I cannot extend my energy on this. It's certainly not in that way. I'll extend my energy in prayer, intercessory prayer for you. That might be all the energy I can have for you, but I cannot be overly emotional and brought to the height of outrage over every single thing. I think that that is a trick of the enemy, to just keep people constantly angry and constantly outraged and constantly upset. Jesus said, my peace I leave you. If Jesus left me his peace, I don't have time to be out here outraged all the time. Like, now some of this stuff is annoying. I get it. It's a lot going on, but that's when you have to like dig down into your pot with your living water and just relax, relate, release, as Whitley Gilbert used to say. So I don't want to go on. Let's see some of these comments. She says, sounds right in line with what I'll be teaching next month for mental health awareness. Okay, so I'm gonna have to tune in for that. The Wife Studio, if you guys are watching this on the replay, she's gonna be teaching on a similar subject. So go follow her and see how you can get in on that. She also says, I watched a video yesterday that showed the same thing, being easily triggered over something that has nothing to do with them. And don't that be the thing? It'd be like the people involved in it, the people doing the most of the yapping. It's like, this wasn't even about you. Like, why are you involved? There are people who just love drama, who just want attention no matter how they get it, whether it's positive or negative. And again, when you do some digging, these are typically people who don't have much in their pot. And that's not to be a down, a negative statement about anybody, but you have to diagnose the problem before you can fix it. Get something going on in your life, and then you won't have time for all of the drama. Like a person who is working, who is paying bills, who looking at this Sally Mae bill, trying to figure out how they're going to pay this student loan, a person who is in school, who's studying for that bar exam, who's studying for the MCAT. These people are not pulling up and popping off nowhere. Cause they're busy. Okay? They got potatoes in their pot. They got chicken in their pot. Okay? They don't have time to be out here with the beef. Okay? So this is the Glow Code message for the day. Get something in your pot. Okay? Get a job, get a career, get a hobby, some aspirations, some ambition. Some rest, maybe some rest. You need some rest in your pot, but most importantly, get some Holy Spirit in your pot. Get some of the word in your pot so that when you find yourself almost about to boil, you can think of a scripture that'll just calm you down. Get you some friends in your circle who got some water in their pot so that they can pull your coattail to the side when they see you boiling when you don't need to be. Let's all on an individual level, work on getting some substance in our pot. Okay. The Wife Studio, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. I'm definitely gonna look forward to that teaching and see kind of your perspective and your take on it too. So you guys remember, the quicker the boil, the less in the pot. Okay, so let's all do that self-examination. How easily are we brought to boil? And if we are brought to boil at the point of on your mark, set, go, if that's all it takes to get us to boil, pulling up, popping off, cussing people out, threatening people, throwing hands, I'm calling my cousin them. If we doing all of that at the on your mark, set, go, let's examine what that says about us and how we might need to be making some changes, how we might need to get a little glow, gratitude, love, optimism, and most importantly, wisdom, because the wise thing to do is to calm yourself down or to have enough substance inside your pot that you're not even brought to boil that easily. So that's the glow tip for today. Check on your substance, check on what's inside your pot, and know your boiling temperature. If you see yourself entering a situation that's about to reach that temperature where you about to boil, maybe don't put yourself in those situations on the one hand, and then on the other hand, continue to work on getting more and more water in your pot so that your temperature continues to rise, like your boiling point continues to rise so that it takes more and more and more to get you riled up. Okay. All right. So I don't want to talk too long. That's all I have for today. You guys, as we always say here at the Glow Code, where we are all about living in the light, we're not necessarily about that life. Okay. We don't pull up and pop off. We are about that light. Okay. we got a prayer for you. We got a word for you. We about joy. We about peace. Okay. We about being of service to our community over here. We about that light. Okay. So this is the Glow Code: gratitude, love, optimism, and wisdom. This is the online space for around the way girls who are unashamed of the gospel, for the ladies in the place with style and grace, for the believers and the baddies. We are here helping women design the lives they truly deserve. So I thank you guys for being here. Hopefully this was helpful. Share it, drop a comment if you're watching this later. And as we always say before we go, know the code, live the code, light the world. I'll see you guys soon. And if you're not following me, hit that follow button. All right? Peace.